like if it's like, all right, 5 years old, they should know how to do this by now. I don't discipline in this type of way, or if there's a level to the disciplinary action.
I would say if I'm talking discipline, I know when I say discipline, I don't necessarily mean physical discipline. I think discipline can be, verbal, emotional, as well as physical. I think there's a lot of different aspects to it. Me growing up, my mother gave me ass whoopings, but they were not nearly as effective as when she said something that made me feel like she was disappointed in me. Like the guilt trip was the worst because, like I said, I was a mama's boy. So I didn't want her to like be upset at me. And even with my daughter now, like sometimes just her knowing that me or my wife is upset, that is what makes her, feel like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I upset my parents. That's a form of discipline.
I think that works better when mom communicates that though. So I feel like if I said it to my son, hey, I'm disappointed at you. I feel like when the mom, put emotion in it, like,
well, it depends on how you are with your child. I mean, that's the thing is my daughter, if she understands my disappointment, she feels it.
I think a girl can relate that towards that because
she's a girl, but also that's what I was saying. I was a mama's boy, so I mean, not to be weird, but that's kind of like a girl growing up. Like I was very in tune with my feelings. So for me, when my mother was upset at me, it affected me more as my brother. He needed ass whoopings daily because he like the words she said to him didn't do nothing. Mm-hmm. So he got whooped a lot more than me. But for me, I went through just as much discipline, and I had to learn how to. Yeah.
So would you say it's fair to say when it comes to that, you got to know your child. If your child needs to be spoken to. Yep. And that works really well. That hit them in the heart versus a little tap.
There's some kids that like what Antoine said. Some kids they don't care about getting their ass whooped because you know what, pain is temporary. But then there's other kids who, like me as a kid when I was growing up, it only took one ass whooping. After that, I'm not doing it again. My brother, it took 3 or 4 for him to learn, and that's because for him, one ass whooping was like. That's cool. I know I'm gonna get another one later, I guess. I don't know. Me, I was like, one ass whooping. Hold on. I don't ever want that again. Ever. Never. I don't want to do that. I ain't never that's how I was about it. Like I was that one that if I got an ass whooping, I'm lying because I don't want that. I don't want it. My brother's like, I'll take the hit. I'm like, you take it then. Like, but those are two different kids coming from the same household, raised the same way. But my mother had to navigate that. And I think that's what it is with kids is you have to navigate what works for your child. And one mistake I think we as parents make is that we decide early on, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to parent. And that is not taking into account who your child is. And it doesn't matter that that's your seed or that's your biological child. It takes 2 to make a baby. And all snowflakes are unique, right? So when
would you learn that though? Like you got to
learn on the job. You learn it on the job. You have to be able to get in tune with your child. You got to know that. Hey, when I yell at her, she doesn't listen to me. She starts crying. So yelling isn't going to be effective. It's just going to make her sad and feel bad, but it's not going to give me the results. She's not going to learn from that. When I yell, that doesn't help the situation. Now, if I say it in this tone, she listens. She might not do it. But if I, give some aggression with the tone without yelling, she understands I mean business. I try different techniques. Like I said, throw some mud at the wall, see what sticks. But what I think we can't do is say, this is how I'm going to do it. Let me do this for 5 years and then reevaluate. You can't do that. You have to figure it out. And then you got to adjust with your child. Like you said, we're looking for an age. When is it, when do you know you got to stop giving ass whoopings? My mom stopped giving me ass whoopings when I was 12 because they didn't work no more. She was hitting me. I was trying to fake cry. I was like, it didn't. Because I was like, shit, this is easy. If I can cry through this,
just tap me a little bit.
She was trying, but I was like 12. I was like a kid. I was a man almost. And I remember she left the room. She said, "Oh, you're too big for ass whoopings now. Wait, just wait." She left the room. I swear to God, I ain't never been so scared in my life. I didn't know what she was gonna do. I was like, is she gonna come back like a bat or something? She never came back. She kept me in fucking fear. And that's how she figured it out. Because I was in the room like just shaking after that. I was like, hold on, what is next? I don't know. And that's how we, I guess, progressed from ass whoopings to fear and guilt. Like and she figured that out. And I mean, kudos to her. I mean, it wasn't great for me, but that's what you have to do with these kids is you have to, stay in tune with them. I would say if you're going to discipline your child, discipline them as long as it's necessary. The ultimate goal is that you can say something to a child and get the results. No one wants to hit their kids. So the sooner you can get to that point, the better. And if you're not trying to get to that point, you're wasting time. I don't know. Personally, I ain't never whipped my kid, but I don't know about you, but I don't want to be hitting a kid for years. It don't make me feel great. I don't care if the kid bad as hell. I'd rather somebody else hit the kid personally. So we have to try to get to that point. I think that by the time a kid is a teenager, by the time a kid is a teenager, they have enough invested in life that there's things you can do outside of hitting them to get the results you want. A 13-year-old boy, there's things that you can take away from him, especially if it's any one of our kids who we know are going to be into like sports and have activities, might even like girls. Oh, you can't go to the skate park this week, buddy, because you don't want to clean your room. I mean, I'm already in negotiations with my daughter. I need you to eat 2 nuggets and then you can get an ice cream. I don't want to eat no nuggets. Then you don't get no ice cream then. Like I'm already there with her and she's only 3. I think that's ultimately what we want to get to is where you can say things to instill discipline. I tell you to make your bed every day. And as you become an adult, you just make your bed. I don't have to tell you anymore. I've instilled that in you through discipline because if you didn't do it at home as a kid, you got your ass whooped. But as an adult, you do it and someone else looks at you like, oh, you're a very disciplined person. Parents don't get credit for that, but that's where the credit is due, is to what happened. Same thing when it comes to like church. I grew up in a church. I don't regularly go to church now. I wouldn't consider myself a church or I wouldn't consider myself a religious person, but I have a relationship with God. I have a foundation. I understand certain things, both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually about my faith. And that keeps me at peace. Mm-hmm. And I think if my mom hadn't made me do that for so much of my young life, I would not be at peace in some of the things that I am in life right now because I always have that to fall back on. It's different if you don't have structure or discipline growing up and then someone tries to give it to you later. I think Anton was very fortunate that at 9 years old, you still have time to develop structure. But there's a lot of people who, they go their whole life with parents who don't discipline them, whether it's physically, mentally, or verbally or any other way. And as adults, they don't have anything to fall back on. And they're trying to like kind of make it up as they go. And then that's how they parent their kids. And now we have a trickle down cycle of badass kids. These sometimes end up the people that end up doing all the shooting, not to just go there right away. But I think it's just one of those things like you have to be able to be as disciplined as you can early. Even if it does mean you're whooping your kids, whoop their asses early. So that by the time they're teenagers, you don't have to whip them anymore, but they still remember what an ass whooping feel like. And that's how they remember, hey, she might not whoop me now, but like I said, she might have went in the other room and got a bat. I don't know. One time I got in a fight with my little brother and my mom punched me in the chest. She said, how did that feel? As I tried to catch my breath, I was like, She's like, that's how I felt when you hit your brother. I ain't never hit my brother again because I didn't want that in my life. I ain't saying go around and hit your child, but shit, do it early. Early is better than doing it later.
Yeah,
definitely discipline them early so that you don't have to discipline them later. Also, if you get too old too fast, I'm 30-something years older than my daughter. By the time she gets to be a teenager, I ain't gonna want to fight.